weather and stuff like that, and then I'll funnel down to you.
Okay.
Hello, Cecil County and the world. Again, good morning. It's Friday, January 13th, 2025. Welcome to the morning show. I'm Rob Churnside. Let's get to the weather. Today will be mostly sunny with a high near 42, west wind around 5 miles per hour. Tonight, expect mostly clear skies with a low around 22, west winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tuesday will be mostly sunny with a high near 30, west wind 10 to 15 miles per hour with gusts as high as 30 miles per hour. Coming up events, here are some events coming up in Cecil County in the next few days. County Executive Adam Strait invites you to fiscal year 26 Citizens Input Session with County Executive Adam Strait on January 16th from 6 o'clock to 7 p.m. This is your opportunity to share your input and discuss items you'd like to see in the upcoming fiscal year 26 budget. Now, you know, the fiscal year starts in July. It took me 26 years of working in public health to figure that one out. And speaking of public health, we have a great guest today, so stay tuned. Tonight, you know, your voice matters with the budget. Don't miss this chance to help shape Cecil County's future. And tonight, sharpen your PowerPoint skills at the Perryville Library. Learn how to make effective slides, insert images, and share your PowerPoint presentations with your audience. This class is targeted to beginners and is at 1 p.m. in the meeting room. That's tonight, 1 p.m. this afternoon, I assume. Not tonight, this afternoon, 1 p.m. Okay, news. Maryland's Accountability and Implementation Board, or the AIB, who oversees the blueprint for Maryland's future educational reform program, have rolled back a requirement to teachers' collaborative time, that is, time meant to be spent for planning and analysis of student performance, goes back from 40% to 20%. This move is due to the ongoing teacher shortage that has existed since the pandemic. AIB says that an additional 12,000 to 15,000 teachers may be needed before an increase in collaborative time can happen. Teachers work hard. If you're out there and you want to be a teacher, get on it. We need you. Okay, today's feature. Today our guest is Cecil County Health Officer Lauren Levey. Lauren is here to tell us about the current health concerns and some of the important programs of the health department. Good morning, Lauren.
Good morning. Thanks for letting me join you.
Oh, we're quite welcome, and you're quite welcome. We've been wanting to talk with you for a long time. The health department is critical to the health of Cecil County and a lot of other stuff, especially nowadays. The flu season's upon us. There are increasing reports of illnesses moving through the population. Can you give us an overview of what people should be concerned about?
Absolutely. So tis the season after the season, and we've seen this for the last several years. Right after the holidays, we start to see respiratory illness really start to pick up. So we are seeing increases in COVID, we're seeing increases in flu, we're seeing increases in RSV. And so I think the most important thing, you know, particularly for those who are at higher risk, people with immunocompromising conditions, people who are age 65 plus, is to get vaccinated. Vaccination is widely available in the community. You can get vaccination for each of those, for RSV, for COVID, and for flu. And so I really want to encourage folks to do that. You know, at the same time, taking the other preventive measures that we know work, in terms of washing your hands frequently, staying home if you're sick, you know, definitely isolating yourself, especially if you're in a home with someone who is high risk. You know, taking those measures really makes a difference. I had COVID earlier this year. I isolated myself in the basement, and you know, none of my other family members got sick. So I think doing the things that we know really well at this point, you know, making sure that you're taking care of yourself. I would also really encourage folks to only go to the emergency room if it's truly an emergency, if they are having trouble breathing or chest pain. Otherwise, asking folks to just stay home and try to manage their symptoms. If they really feel like they need to talk with a physician, to consider going to urgent care rather than going to the emergency room. Or contacting their family physician to get some guidance about how to manage symptoms. But it's the same, it's the same advice that we've been offering, for the past many years. I think that's, those are the things that work. And so really encourage people to get vaccinated, stay home if you're sick, hand washing, masking when appropriate, and, especially if you're at high risk, taking those precautions really seriously.
That's a lot. And
Yeah.
with RSV, COVID, and flu out there, I had COVID 5-6 months ago, and I just thought it was a little sniffles or allergy. People should test, and if so, if you want to test, are there sources of free tests available for anybody?
So we have had free tests available, and we are looking to obtain some more. We've been getting those from the state. The state inventory of tests has now been utilized. So the state is not planning to offer any more COVID tests for distribution through the local health departments. We have some remaining COVID funding available, so we are looking to obtain some. I'm not really sure if we have them yet in stock. I'll have to get back to you on that. I know that we are pursuing that. They are available in supermarkets, and I know that there were the federal government was offering them as well, so people can go online and look for free federal government tests and order those. And I think you get two to four per household, and those will be mailed to you. And it moves pretty quickly. You can get them quickly. And we will certainly, once we have them back in stock, if we don't have them currently, I think they expired at the end of December. If we don't have them currently, we should have them back in stock soon.
Great. Well, that's good that folks who don't have a whole lot of money can go to the federal government and just keep clicking away until they find what they want and get some sent to their house. That's great. And if there's not enough to worry about, now we have the H5N1 coming down the pike. Is it part of your job to advise farmers and other keepers of animals on safe practices and what to look for to avoid the spread of H5N1 to humans?
So, obviously we're as public health keeping a very close eye on that. We are seeing outbreaks. We had an outbreak a couple of years ago in Cecil County in some of our poultry facilities. And it's really a multi-agency response. In terms of the animal portion of it, that really falls under the Department of Agriculture. But we as public health have an important role to play in terms of keeping an eye on human transmission. I spoke a little bit earlier about flu vaccination, particularly if you work in agricultural industries, really want to encourage folks to get vaccinated from flu. Just to ensure, protection so that you wouldn't have necessarily the combined effects of influenza A and then H5N1 at the same time. So just really the importance of those precautionary measures. But we are seeing some wild geese on the East Coast. Largely, the outbreaks have been in other states. We just in the past week had our first Maryland-based case in a poultry facility in Caroline County. And so definitely keeping a close eye on that, really wanting people, if you see sick birds, wild or otherwise, if they're in your backyard flocks, to either call the health department and we'll get you in touch with the folks that you need to speak with, but really taking precautions so that you don't get sick. And definitely keeping a close eye on it, trying to ensure that human transmission remains low. I will say the risk to the public at this point is low.
Good,
for
good.
H5N1.
But if someone were to get H5N1, is it similar to flu or?
So I think the symptoms are showing up in different ways. There have been very mild cases. In the last couple of months, there have been only a couple, fortunately, of severe human cases. At least in one instance, we did have one death in Louisiana from someone from H5N1. That person had some other immunocompromising conditions, that may have contributed to mortality in that case. So, I think there's still a lot that we're learning. I think initially a lot of the cases were mild, and it was like conjunctivitis or pink eye was really
Right.
the only symptom. But then in other instances, there have been more severe symptoms. So I think this is still an evolving situation. So, even if you are just having mild symptoms, if you have had any contact with any kind of bird that seems ill, I would really encourage you to reach out to us and we can get connected to the right folks.
Great. Good advice. When we last spoke with you, Lauren, the behavioral health town halls are just getting underway. How have they been going and what have you learned?
They have been going really, really well. We have one coming up. Just want to put a plug in. We have one coming up. We have held 4 so far. We've held one in Elkton, one in Charlestown, one in Port Deposit, and one in Perryville. And we are planning to do them throughout all of the towns in Cecil County. Our next one is coming up on January 23rd in Cecilton at 6 p.m. at the Cecilton Community Center. Really want to encourage folks to come out to that. These conversations have been so valuable for us to really understand what community needs are and, thoughts and opinions about where are the gaps and what can we be doing better as a community in terms of responding to the behavioral health needs. So that's substance use disorder, that's mental health concerns. I mean, in some cases, these have been really challenging conversations to have. This is hard. We don't have enough providers. We know that. And so how do we get the resources that we need? So that, the purpose of these conversations is to let us know what can we be doing, where are the gaps? And one of the things that came out of our Elkton town hall, where we had a lot of members from the recovery community, is a real need for financial literacy training. And so directly from that town hall, we have worked with APG Federal Credit Union and Voices of Hope to stand up some financial literacy trainings that are going to be starting in January. The first one is January 16th, I believe, at Voices of Hope. And information about that can be found on our website. And really, encouraging folks as they move into recovery and, are trying to reestablish their lives, giving them the skills that they need to be able to do that. And that was, one of the things that we heard from the community, and that was one of the things we were able to develop. So just really shows the value of these conversations. We want to hear from the community about what the needs are so that we can develop our programming accordingly.
Yes, I think that's great. And it's a partnership between Aberdeen Federal Credit Union, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the health department and the
and Voices of Hope.
The recovery community. It's just
Mm-hmm.
great, and that's kind of a good way to address things when there are gaps. I like that. Coming up in a few days, the health department is holding the first of a series of mental health first aid trainings for youth, even funneling down more specifically. Can you tell about the need for these and what they will be like?
Absolutely. So this is something we've been doing for many months. I'd say maybe on a year. We have been offering training with our partners to get trained as trainers in mental health first aid. It's an evidence-based program that really, for people, it's not just for professionals. It's not just for people who work in government agencies. It's really for everybody. So I really encourage members of the public to take advantage of this. And what it's about is recognizing the early signs and symptoms of mental distress so that you can provide support to others and get them connected to the resources that they need. If we can identify those things early on, then people don't even necessarily need a therapy level of care. They just need to know where they can access available resources. And so that's what this training is really about. It's about helping people kind of recognize those signs in their friends and family members and community members so that they can be that support. And so the next training coming up is youth mental health first aid. We've heard a lot in these behavioral health town halls about the mental health needs of our youth. This is something we are very focused on and trying to identify additional resources. There's a lot happening around that. A lot happening at the state level, a lot happening at the local level, and happy to talk more about that at some other time because there's so much to it. But the youth mental health first aid training will be held on January 17th at 10 a.m. at the Perryville Library. And that is one that is really focused on youth. There is also adult mental health first aid training. The next one is scheduled for March 28th. We have 2 youth mental health first aid trainings, the one in January that I mentioned, and also one on February 21st at 10 a.m. And that one will be at the Elkton Library.
So coming up on the 17th is Perryville at 10 a.m., Perryville Library.
Right. And you can go to the health department website, and we have QR codes there where you can register. It's really an excellent program, and really helps people understand the signs and symptoms and how you can talk to a person who is in mental distress, and be a support to them and get them connected to resources that they need.
That's awesome. Thanks for taking the time to talk with us, Lauren. Is there anything else that you would like to discuss?
Gosh, there's so much happening at the health department. There is so much that I would like to discuss. I think, my main message, really wanting people to take care of themselves, in every way. And so that is getting vaccinated. It is also taking care of your mental health. And so if you are having, any struggles, to reach out to a trusted friend or family member. There is also the 988 crisis hotline available for individuals who are experiencing any mental health crises. And so just want to make sure that folks are aware of that. And of course, people can call the health department at any time, and we can get you connected to resources.
Yeah, I think the health department has a wealth of resources. I know because I worked there for many years, and things have changed over the years for the better, of course. Tell us once again about this 988. If you're having problems, or you know somebody's having problems, just dial 988 on your phone.
Just dial 988 on your phone if you are in mental health crisis. If you are having any kind of suicidal thoughts, please contact that line and you will get connected to resources. You'll get connected to a live person who can listen and provide you with supports.
Well, thank you, Lauren. Thanks for taking the time to talk with us. I know you're always busy in public health, and there's a lot of stuff to do. You prompted me. I'm going to get my flu shot, my COVID shot, and my RSV shot, but you can't get them all on the same day, can you?
You actually can. I like to spread them out a little bit just so that whatever side effects are, but that's a personal choice. Some people like to get it over with, but I like to spread them out so doesn't pack quite the wallop in terms of side effects.
I'm starting with COVID.
All right.
The next time we talk, if I haven't gotten it, put me in the shredder.
All right.
No. Thank you very much. And folks, thanks
you.
for watching Cecil TV. If you think programs like this are valuable, please consider becoming a donor to Cecil Public Media. Please like us on Facebook and subscribe to the Cecil TV YouTube channel. Have a great day.